So I just this piece of wood. This is another one that was in the scrap pile over where they're making. So I just took this piece of wood and just screwed it in, put it on here.
Nice.
So that was very simple.
So
and
it's
easy.
more comfortable also to sit and guess.
Well, some people like that, and then of course you can put one of these cushions on it too. If you
Nice.
really like.
Very
And this cupboard is actually made out of the wood that we used. We needed some plywood when we were making the roof for people to walk on, and the scaffolding, because they had to plaster the top. People had to walk. So we had these sheets of plywood. And so after it was over, and normally they kind of wreck those things when they're doing the work. So I told them to be very careful of these boards, and I put a coating on them to start with of oil to protect them. And then we got this furniture, and then I made a cupboard for my tools out of it. And we have this over here. This is the, the cupboard for the pots and pans. This board is from the construction left over. And these are art pieces from some famous British artist, wood carver, who came here on a scholarship and did an exhibition at Bar Nivas, and he made about 30 of these kind of totem pole things.
amazing.
But he only exhibited about 15. The rest he threw away. And so he was living here. So I took the ones he threw away and built my cupboard. So we use what we have. See, that's another great permit. If you don't have these kind of things, you don't go out and try to find them. You have what comes in your environment.
Yes.
Maybe you have a place that's all full of rocks. Then you make your house out of rocks. You make your fence out of rocks. You use rocks for everything. Wherever you are, there is what you need. You don't have to go, and with a huge carbon footprint and bring in truckloads of other stuff.
Absolutely.
You just take what's there.
Yeah.
And it really works out nicely.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And what are those near the sink? Are those round holes? Are those made with something?
Oh, the holes here that you see, they just made little cubby holes to put things, to keep the tea strainer, So these are actually,
so cute.
These are pottery. They are, they have a top on the one side. I have a lot in the bathroom because one of the potteries here got a contract to make 5,000 of these.
Wow.
So, and they charge them a lot of money for each one. So it was for a wedding, I think. So they put a candle inside underneath, and then you put some scented oil in the top, and it's a diffuser. So out of the 5,000, probably 1/3 had little defects. They cracked in the kiln. That's what happens in these fancy pottery. So they had all these things. Where were they going? Landfill. So I brought them here, and I just stuck them around where they might be useful or might not be. Just for fun. See, you can play. When you're doing these kind of things, you can play, which is also very nice.
I read an interesting quote once which really struck me, that the only difference between waste and something which is productive is imagination.
Exactly.
I think that's exactly what you've proved.
Yeah.
Like, this is just
well, you see, we
such a
have been
profound
conditioned
work
to
of art.
believe in waste because of the consumer corporate strategy of brainwash that you have to keep buying new things.
Absolutely.
And they made things planned obsolescence. You may have heard of that. They make things that'll break, so you buy a new one because things should last forever. I mean, my parents got a toaster for their wedding in 1939, and it's still being used. So, that's it's like 70 years or something. Those things don't break the way they used to make them, and cars and things don't have to do a new one every year, or phones or anything. So anyway, we're in that world. So we think that we have to throw away. And they want us to throw away. And then there's also this subtle thing where things that have been thrown away are not valuable anymore. And also they add the extra thing that they might be toxic. So you have to be very careful. Whereas people buy new things and all the toxic gases are coming off of them all the time. The formaldehyde in the new plastic, the PVC, all these things. So the old stuff, of course, is much better.
Absolutely.
And we don't have to worry. I mean, all those things are measurable. All those things are known. The information is there, so we don't poison ourselves at all.
And on that note, can you take us to that very interesting feature of your house, the washing machine
Oh, yes.
cover?
So I saw one day in the trash, somebody had thrown away a washing machine door. And I said, this is going to go into landfill. And these things, you see, you have this wonderful plastic cover, but you also have this thick glass.
Yes.
Very high quality glass.
Yes.
And so I said, well, that's a perfect window. So, and I have another one on the other side, and I have two more outside, because I want to make two more holes in the wall.
Beautiful. And you can open
more light.
You can open this? Or?
No, it can't open. And you don't throw your wash in there either. Don't worry. Oh, of course, if it's raining, you might throw your wash out in the rain. No, this is just stuck in the wall, embedded. See, and because this is this mud wall in which you can just chisel it out, and also the bricks are inferior quality, so they break better than if you had new ones. And then inside, a little boy was here, Royange. He painted this, and he helped do this. And he said, and when he painted outside, he said, well, we leave it a little rough. We don't make it because it looks like snow.
Oh.
So when you look out the window, you see the snow. So this boy, he was 8 years old, and he was very clever.
That is so amazing.
And he used to come on Saturday and help me. So we have all these, everything in the place, of course, has a story. It came from somewhere, it was somebody's, somebody gave it. So it's all loaded with memories. All these, the print block from Jaipur that my wife got, this painting that a friend made. So, it's all here. And then I just put it, and this is my workplace. This is my stand-up work table. And so I have some things here. This is my wife, who was a great Bharatanatyam dancer, dancing away. And this is my friend who died. There's another friend who built the Matra Mandir, Ruth Lohman. So he's here. And then we have Saraswati Veena, because my wife also plays the Veena.
Nice.
And then we have some children here that I was very close to. This is my godchild and her friend. She was 3 years old. Now she's 33. And this is Ayana, who lives right next door. We had a little pool here. We used to swim all the time. And now she's 15.
Nice.
And so, everything is evolving and changing. And then I have this stone that I got from taking down a building, or part of a building. And so all these came from that construction site that was being demolished.
Fascinating.
And so when you have a earth wall, you can stick things in it while you're building. And then sometimes you need a lintel here, just put a stone in. A friend of mine said, I've got a couple of old windows lying around, would you like? So I got those.
Fascinating.
But I made the grills because you have to here, because it's a possibility of theft is very, very happens a lot. And so these grills, of course, I made symbolically with the sun, and also a flower petal, and this is the water that nerve. So that was my little theme for the grills.
Great.
And the other windows there were old ones from an old house that was down on the road. So, and then we run everything on solar, of course.
Lovely.
Even the fridge. See, now the fridge, of course, is not a recycled fridge. This is the new Samsung fridge that runs only on 100 watts.
Okay.
So very energy efficient.
Lovely.
We have all that.
Good.
And then we have a gas stove, more recycled wood. All sorts of things are here. Yeah, and my wife painted she liked botanical painting, so she painted the avocado and the brinjal and everything. So all these things, you can just keep playing, and then never stops.
Yeah.
So we can maybe
Let's
go upstairs.
Huh? Yes.
We're going up the stairs here. This railing is just from the backyard. It's a tree. This also from the backyard.
Okay.
didn't have enough steps to go all the way up. We could only get to here. So then we used some of the floor boards to make a little steep stair here.
Okay.
And this wood is all the acacia, these original acacia auriculaformis trees that were the drought trees that we planted in Oroville to fix the nitrogen and get started. Now we don't plant these kind of trees. They're planting themselves. So you can see the Tetrapack roof, but it's only the inside coat because I put wire mesh, chicken wire on the top, and we sprayed some cement on it. So people say, "Oh, you made a recycled house, but you use cement." Well, of course, we're in this 100% purist notion. If you do something, it has to be so-called absolute.
Yeah.
No, we live in a world where you have to adjust. So of course I use cement, and I use some nails, and I use some new screws, and all of that. We have to do that, and the mesh and things you have to buy.
So how many Tetrapacks approximately did you use for your?
I have no idea how many Tetrapacks it takes, but this man in Gujarat who developed the process, he made a plant that would process 10 tons of Tetrapacks a day. I mean, that is a huge amount, and they mostly all came from Mumbai, and so we had to, a truck brought 16 tons of them.
16 tons of
Tetrapacks, and we built the building next door out of them. The corrugated ones, these are the flat ones that you can use for furniture. But the corrugated ones they use for roof. But this roof I needed flats, so I could put the cement on top of it. And you can see here, we put some steel in. You can see the automatic air conditioning also here.
Nice.
So there's no wind outside, but of course it's still turning because the hot air in the building hot air rises.
Yes.
So you're always getting this nice little fresh breeze.
Lovely.
And in this climate it's essential. Of course they have open grills on both sides that help. But still, these are very valuable. I put 2 on. People usually don't put them on their houses, but every factory and every shop you see are smart enough to use them.
Nice.
But it's a wonderful, simple invention. Requires no electricity or anything. And
Beautiful. And I also love the way the sunlight is pouring in through those bottles. Like it's giving such a sort of psychedelic effect. I think that's the word for it.
It's kind of a... Yeah, well, you see the bottles are a little dirty, and because when we sprayed the cement on, you had to stick the bottles in because the roof is going to get hard.
Yeah.
And I couldn't clean all the bottles. That would have been a huge job. So somebody could do a much better house than this with, if they had a few more people and a little more time. So I just did the best I could, the fastest I could. And then, and there were supposed to be 2 windows here. Carpenter dropped a hammer on the other one, so that's gone. But then I made it into a vent. So the air is coming up. So I thought that was also good.
Even this is a lovely concept of having a glass partition,
in the
kind
floor.
of see-through thing.
Yeah.
And love the vents.
It was because, this was determined by the fact that I had these 2 nice pieces of glass. So the way this house was built was to collect things for 2 years and then start building and use the things that were all collected. They were out here in this backyard. We had a huge pile of bottles and a huge pile of broken tiles and all sorts of things. And then we went from there.
Okay.
And then when my guava tree fell down, it made a perfect, this very hard wood guava. It's very nice. With a nice clothes rack.
Fascinating. And is that your laundry basket?
Yeah. Well, the laundry basket is made by local people. They sell them on the road,
Lovely.
And so I'd like to, of course, encourage the local arts and crafts. And the bed was down on the road also. Some parts were missing. So we got this part of this frame was missing, and these tops that go on these pins, they were missing. So I just made these myself out of this wood.
Nice.
And my friend Walter, the carpenter, had a lathe, and we just made those tops.
Good.
But the rest was all there. And there's another priceless treasure, you know.
This is also Burma teak.
Yeah. 500,
Amazing.
I don't know, 300 years old, 500 years old,
That
who
is-
knows?
Fascinating.
And some people say, but how many people have slept in that bed? The more the merrier.
I like that.
And people, you know, people worry about vibrations, but I always believe in incense, you know.
Yeah.
The incense you burn in incense, it takes care of any kind of vibration.
The main vibration, I think, is your intention.
Yeah,
If your
exactly.
intention is to actually recycle,
That's right.
you know, reduce carbon footprint, I mean, there's no better thing than that.
And then, of course,
That's your
you can
bathroom.
open these grills. I put a door in there because I have to go out and clean this rainwater catchment. You see all these little things have accumulated here. This is coming from the tree. So I'll sweep all that and go in the compost. And here you get an excellent view of the bathroom.
Right.
The bathroom is a key place in any house. But this bathroom is better than any bathroom, I think, in all of Oroville or maybe the world, because it has 3 toilets. Compost, sit down, and then the squat.
Oh, nice.
So I was just planning compost, but my mother-in-law, when she came, she went to Pondicherry and bought a sit-down toilet. She said no, and she brought that, so we have a sit-down toilet. And then, of course, some people like to use spot toilets.
Right.
And we have a shower here, and you have the basin there. The basin I found also was in the trash, and the pipe for the shower. And then the paint came from a children's art project left over. The tiles are from construction sites left over. And then the same kind of brick walls. And you see all that pottery on top, all going to landfill, all being wasted.
Nice.
And then I can take my compost toilet and the stuff from the kitchen. And I have these rings out here. I have some cement kind of rings that you just put that in there with some leaves. Because see what happens in the shower, of course, the leaves fall in. Every morning I sweep it, and then I put the leaves in the compost toilet. So that's also good.
I'm just curious that when it rains,
Yeah.
how do you use the washroom that time?
Well, see, when it rains, then you save water because you don't have to take a shower.
Yeah.
And you can sit on the toilet. Of course, you can't wear any clothes in the bathroom, and it's all private, so it's no problem. So you get your shower and everything when it's raining, and you can sit on the toilet also, you know, when it's raining. So
Great.
no issue. And here, see, this is a tropical climate, so you don't. It's more fun to be out here and see when you take